Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live magic Q&A with Madame Pamita. That's me, I'm Madame Pamita. We meet here every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. We record this as a live Zoom session every Sunday, and we post that recording later on YouTube. I'm a little behind on posting my recordings, but I'm going to get on top of it, and I'm going to get them out there. If you're watching this as a replay on YouTube and you want to join us live and ask questions about spirituality, magic, divination, all kinds of topics, all kinds of guests, special guests that we have on, and you want to join us, it's very easy to do. You can get the password to this little Zoom clubhouse that we have here just by going to spellsquad.com and signing up. You'll get an email with the link to join us, and you can, that link works every Sunday. So you can join us every Sunday and get a free magic education. What could be better? It's an amazing time. We love having you here. Love the questions that you guys bring. So we would love to have you in the clubhouse. In case you stumbled on this and you don't know who the heck I am, I said Madame Pamita, but how do you find me? Well, I'm at parlorofwonders.com. You can find me there all the time. That's my shop. That's where people book readings with me. I sell magical supplies and so on over there. I also have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Madame Pamita. I have a podcast that's a little bit in hiatus, but you can still listen to back episodes. It's called Magic and the Law of Attraction. You can find that at magicandthelawofattraction.com. I have a couple of blogs. One's up on my site where I write articles about working with your spirit guides, divination practices, magic spells, all kinds of things over there. You can find that by going over to my site and looking for my magic blog. I also have another blog about Slavic magic that's over on Patheos Pagan, and you can find that by going to babayagascottage.com. That's my Slavic magic blog that I have over there. And I think, though, one more thing I want to tell you about, I have a book about candle magic coming up that's called The Book of Candle Magic. You can pre-order it. I'm encouraging people to pre-order it from their local mom and pop bookstore, because when you do that, you have an amazing positive effect. Your dollars matter, and where you spend your dollars matter. Of course, you can order it through me. Of course, you can order it through Amazon. Of course, you can order all those places. But when you go to your mom and pop bookstore, you're keeping them afloat during these kind of tough times for retail businesses. You're also letting them know that this is a book that they should stock. So they might order more than one copy, the copy for you, and then a copy to put on the shelf. And you're letting other people know about this book. So you can have a really profound effect with your dollars, and just by ordering the Book of Candle Magic, pre-ordering it through your local mom and pop bookstore. So I'm really encouraging people to do that. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest today. My guest today is Tatiana from yes2soul.com. She is a certified advanced Akashic record practitioner. And through her own Akashic reading, she's experienced deep, empowering personal healing that turned her directly toward her soul-filled purpose, to invite others to unfold their true selves on a soul level, to allow their inner light to shine authentically and free. So she does amazing Akashic Records readings that are elegant, efficient, and an enjoyable way to accelerate your journey to be empowered in your life, live your dreams sooner rather than later. I think everyone wants to live their dreams sooner rather than later. Hi, Tatiana, welcome.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice to have you on here. Oh, it's just a delight. And I'm so excited that we're going to talk about the Akashic Records, which is a topic we have not yet explored on the show. I've been doing this show for a long time. And this is, not a thing that people have brought up. Okay. It's not a thing that we've had an expert on. So this is going to be exciting new information for everyone, which I'm so, so thrilled to bring. The place that you can find Tatiana, by the way, is yes2soul.com. That's her website, yes2soul.com. You can find her over there. And this is a special thing that I wanted to tell you about at the beginning of our session. She is offering 15% off a 30 or a 60-minute Akashic Records reading for the Spell Squad. And you just use the code, all capitals, no spaces, yes, Spell Squad, all one word, all capitals, and you'll get that 15% off. So you'll want to check it out and go over there and do that. Also, at the end of our session today, she's going to be doing a little mini Akashic reading for one person. We're going to pick one person, not for everyone, one person, but everyone's eligible. So Tatiana, to get people to put their entry into the raffle to get the reading, What's your favorite emoji?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, the little red heart.
The little red heart. Okay, so either put the word heart or put the red heart over on the chat, and then you'll be entered in to get that mini Akashic reading at the end. So you can do that now. All the people are typing hearts and putting hearts. I saw a black heart in there. I think that still counts. So yeah, put the word heart, put a heart emoji, put the greater than, less than sign in the 3, whatever, however you want to do it. You go ahead and do that, and we'll know that you want to be in the running for that at the end of our session today, which is so exciting. I love when we have a little mini reading at the end.
A quick question.
Yeah.
I won't see that person, right? That person's just going to type in their question.
We can see the person. I can turn on their audio.
Okay. Okay.
So
cool.
when we pick the person at the end, we're going to do a little raffle. I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and whatever. And then when you pick that person, then I'll announce that they're the winner. And then we can turn on their sound. We can have them ask you questions. So that's fine. Yeah. So tell us a little bit. I mean, this is a big topic. First of all, do you want to tell a little bit about how you got involved? Well, let's find out what the Akashic Records are. I know what they are. I work in the Akashic Records, but a lot of people might not know what the Akashic Records are.
So let me start with, so I connect to the Akashic Records through the Pathway Process Prayer. So here's like a little copy of the prayer. And so this prayer was channeled by Linda Howe. And so she is an author of many books, and she is the leading expert in the field of Akashic Records, which specializes in using the Akashic Records for personal growth and transformation. So that's how I access the Akashic Records. Now, anyone can access it all the time. So if we're going back into history, it used to be people, special people like mystics, but currently this year during this time, it's available to everyone all the time. It's nice to be intentional about it. And so there's a beauty about that, but you can always access it. So what is the Akashic Record? So it's an energetic field, and it has the vibrational record of everything you did, you said, all your actions and thoughts in all your past lives, and also your current life, of course, and then into future lives. So, but those future lives, they're not set. So it's possibilities and probabilities, because there's free will. There's free will with you. And so when you go into your Akashic Records, or someone opens them up for you and you ask questions, you're asking questions on how to take appropriate action, spiritual guidance on how to live your life optimally. So it's a little different than a psychic reading. Psychic reading, you might say, when I'm going to meet my soulmate, right? In the Akashic Records, you might say, what do I need to do to meet my soulmate? And it may be something like, the hilarious answer is, make up with your sister and clean your garage, right? So kind of like get your act together, you know what I mean? A broad question like that, like a soul level truth, right? Not like get a haircut, get some cute clothes, right? And so you're getting soul level truth guidance. Now, as a human being, it's your choice to move on that guidance. Sometimes, how we need to receive guidance from several different ways, right? We need to hear it several times. Something as simple as drink more water, right? I had to hear it so many times and be dehydrated a lot before I started to take that appropriate action on myself. So it's okay to, get a reading from a psychic, get a reading from a Akashic Record, a bunch of people, and then finally you're like, I'm really going to move on this. It really is resonating with me now, and I feel ready. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that totally is exactly what I would describe the Akashic Records as being. It's this place. Sometimes people visualize it, and you can visualize it as like a library of all that information, but a library could be anything. It could be musty old books, which is what I love to go into because I love history and I love old things. But it could also be going in and touching a crystal or, doing anything, but it's a download of information, and it's a repository of information where we can go and get that. That's always been the way I've worked with it and understood it. How did you get your first experience of working with the Akashic Records, or having a reading yourself, or getting tuned into this? You talk about it in your bio, how this was such a profound experience. Can you share a little bit about that?
I was feeling really lost. I was kind of bouncing from different careers, and I kept knowing that it wasn't my soul level's truth. And there was a lot of things in my life that were really great and things that I was dissatisfied with. So I was on a search. This was last spring around my birthday, and I started getting readings, like gifting myself many readings. And in one of my readings with a psychic, she said, "You need to read the Akashic records. Like this is what you need to be doing." And I had no idea what the Akashic records were. But when she told me and when she explained to me that it was like this library, right? And it's not like a Google library where, I can just Google something. There's light beings that are managing what information you're getting. Like, so what's ready? What's the first step for you to take? They're not going to give you all 10 steps. They're going to guide you through it, so it's not overwhelming for you. And I read Linda Howe's book, and the book is beautiful, and it so resonated with me. And also, I got through the book. So many books I buy and I don't finish. And she also says in the book, if you've read this far, then you're so on the right path, right? So it was like a little pat on my back. And I read the book and I did the exercises, and I didn't feel like I was accessing my Akashic records. Honestly, I was struggling. So I got on Google and I looked up some classes, and I found an amazing teacher. My teacher is Helen Vonderheide. And I took a class in last July. And then I kept taking classes, and it was just because I was so interested, I was so fascinated, and I never had a goal with it. So I took all 5 certifications within 3 months. So I actually got to take a class with Linda Howe. She actually came to Los Angeles.
Wow.
And I've made all these amazing friends. And it's just this really beautiful community, because the Akasha is a realm of love. It's a realm of no fear, no resistance, no judgment. And so the people that are attracted to it, it resonates with them, right? And of course we're human, right? We make mistakes. I yell at my kids, right? I'm human, right? But it's such a forgiving realm. And so it's just really brought so much grace to my life. And so I'm able to, things are still the same, right? In my life, not everything has drastically changed, but my attitude about it, my acceptance is so different.
It's so beautiful. I love that story. I love that story. I sometimes feel like, what I would say is that you had a past life of understanding the Akashic records, so that when you found it again, you immediately were like diving in very, very deeply.
Right. And that's what they say, that like if you're interested in Akashic records, like reading or whatever, then you definitely access it in past lives. And so you're bringing all that forward with you, or you were a healer in a past life, or something that you're bringing forward. And then it's about trusting it, right? And really embracing it, because
Yeah.
the Akashic records are really different. It's hard to explain to people, and it's very different than what I was doing in the past. I was a science major, and it's difficult to prove it. How can I physically prove it, right? But I've seen tremendous healing with people. And so I have experiences that I can tell people about, but I can't show you, you know, but it's that unknown that's so beautiful, right?
It is. And what's interesting is I think if we talk about like science and spirituality, because you're getting me to go on this tangent, I love to talk about. I come from a person. I come as a person who's skeptical, and I come as a person who's like, prove it to me. That's like my attitude, like kind of thing. But what I realize is that healthy skepticism, I think that's great. But I've seen time and time again magic work. I've seen time and time again divination work. I've seen time and time again synchronicities happen and interesting things. And what we're finding is that back in the olden days of the alchemists and before, when spirituality was really the most important thing and science was just coming up, those two were actually very intertwined. And then the age of reason, 1700s, 1800s, 20th century, as we go forward, those two separated, and we would see them as, I think, artificially separated from one another. It's almost like how you can't, like someone can't view the sun as anything but a ball of gas. Well, can you view it in another, can you see another layer of it as like this, as having some kind of energy beyond the hydrogen explosion that's nuclear, whatever that's happening up there, right? So can you see that? So what I think we're finding is that there are these mysteries that science can't explain away with science, and we're finding these really intriguing scientific things that are showing us the things that spirituality already knew.
Yeah, and when people get a reading, they feel known, they feel heard, they feel loved in ways unconditionally that they perhaps didn't know possible, right? And that's how it was for me. And I felt supported in ways that I hadn't experienced as a human in this life.
Yeah.
And so, but I can't physically, I just felt that way. It's very energetic.
Yeah, I mean, and we're learning, like with science, like quantum mechanics and things like that, about how things are connected even when they're not visibly connected, and things like atomic structure and electrons. And the more we find out about it, the more we're realizing it kind of says what spirituality has said, that we're all connected, that there's something beyond, you know, what we're seeing in front of our eyes, you know. So it's very, very interesting to see that you have come from that scientific mindset, because I think that's fascinating territory to explore when scientific people find spirituality, or when spiritual people find science. I think those two have more in common with each other than differences, if you are willing to be open-minded about looking at it, you know.
It's kind of funny. I remember in my first class, we did a meditation, and I realized that I hadn't really thought about past lives. And I realized that I had to just accept that I had past lives in order to work through the exercise. I was like, okay, I think I'll just go yes with this. And I just hadn't really thought about it in the life that I was living, right? And of course, you know, I totally believe it, and I have lots of experiences, right? But at the time, I was just in a different place than I am now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open-minded. I'm always willing to say, like, I do past life work with people all the time, but I'm always willing to say, like, this is the best explanation we have of what it is. There may be new information that comes in that explains it even better, but this is the best explanation that we have right now, that it's a past life, and whatever it is, it works. There's amazing things that happen when we do that kind of work. Do you do past life work with the Akashic records? You do go into past lives?
It comes up. It's different than other past, like I've learned how to do past life regression, like when you lead someone. It's different than that. Someone may have an issue, and then you can ask, okay, are the causes and conditions from a past life? Or someone may say, you know, have questions about a past life, like what kind of relationship did we have in a past life? Because sometimes they can explain, it's like, we're just not getting along. Like, why is that, right? It doesn't seem to be anything in this life where we're not getting along. Or, oh my gosh, there's so much magnetism here. Why is that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, are you ready to get to some questions about the Akashic records? Ready to look at some stuff? Great. All right. So Rose has a question. She says, wonderful to be here with you. What aspects of our lives do the Akashic records speak to? What's most helpful to ask of the records? Like what kind of things can people bring to you?
Ask are things that are just not resolving with everything else that you're doing, right? Or sometimes you just want guidance. Like sometimes I use it for what are the best things for me to eat, right? Optimal things, so that I don't go into my head. I don't go into my humanness, and I go into what does my soul really need. So it's different for everybody, but there's so many questions that you can ask once you start asking. It's unlimited. And if you're curious, you can ask question on question on question, and you can just, it's called mining in the Akasha.
That's true, huh? That's so perfect. Yeah, I mean, once you find out something, it may lead to another question or something. So can people come to you with, they can come to you with like a relationship they're wanting to know more about, or if they're feeling like possibly like you did, like, I'm not sure what to do, what I should be doing next, or where I should go, or I'm feeling dissatisfied with my life right now.
Yeah, recently I've been doing some readings of people that have had like struggling relationships with their parents. And so they want to know how to change that, change the dynamics, change the pattern, right? And so often it's the way they see it. And it's and when their energy changes, it's really interesting. Let's see if I can come up with an example. Sometimes I get all these metaphors. I don't want to say too much personal about somebody, but the people will get these beautiful metaphors that help explain the relationship. Or sometimes when they realize that in past lives, they were also not very kind or treated their parents in a similar way, and it gives them compassion. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that, you know what is a kind of similar thing that I've been noticing is like, how do I look at something that I might feel very attacked, or I might feel very, it may make me super angry, but how can I look at what is the gift in that thing? What can I look in the gift in that situation, as opposed to looking at this is something I'm personalizing?
Yeah, what's interesting is the guidance and the messages that I get for people. They're not anything that I personally, Tatiana, it's not something I would ever come up with, or I would tell them.
Yeah.
You know, even when I have a friend, it's like, wow, I would never tell her that, but this is some gold stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, example, someone who was having mother-in-law issues, and so they suggested a meeting, and so and real specificity about the meeting, and so it meant that she needed to arrange it, and also get her husband to agree, and also the mother-in-law. So a lot of little pieces, right? To get going, and also she needed to be genuinely motivated to want to do it, and and I heard from a mutual friend that it was beautiful, and it really aligned, and you know, it was a long-standing difficult relationship, and they found commonality.
Wow. That's amazing. So
There's a
healing.
lot more pieces to it, but yeah, but sometimes, you know, it's a lot of things you need to come together, and it all happened, so it's really cool.
Do you think, just a question on my thing, do you think that going into the Akashic records positively affected the meeting, or do you think that just the information came through that they should have this meeting in a certain way?
So just by being in the kasha, healing happens. So just by having a reading or going to an akashic meditation, and when I go into someone else's records, I receive healing. So the healing already starts, and so that's really nice. And sometimes people ask questions, and the answer is that it's already starting, and it's like a miracle thing happens. Do you know what I mean? Like someone was having an issue with a contractor, and the information that received is it was about kind of like overcharging kind of things, right? Going over budget. And so she was to ask him for a meeting, but it was the way she was supposed to ask him for a meeting. They were very specific. And the messages she received are that he would provide a solution after she set the meeting. And it happened that way.
So gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so beautiful. Bruce has a question.
Mhm.
How does free will work regarding the Akashic records?
So if he's asking, so the Akashic records, when we're talking about like future things, like what should I do? I mean, we always have free will, so you don't have to move on the guidance, right? And also there's other people. So you're getting the highest probability and the highest possibility, but you can also ask questions like, what's the lowest probability and the lowest possibilities? So it gives you like a range of the free will, you know, between what you might do and everybody else. Is that helpful?
Yeah, and I also think of it, it's something interesting because I have seen the same thing in a kind of different way in doing divination. It's not to get sometimes a very, very strong 100% yes or 100% no is not always the case. So sometimes people will come with a question and they're like, I want to know a yes or a no, you know, the 100% yes or 100% no. And sometimes we don't get that in a reading. Sometimes I'm like, things are so in flux, or they're so kind of could go either way, that there's like a 50-50, you know? And so, you know, I can't guarantee that every time you ask a question, I'm going to have 100% yes or 100% no, because there's all that element of free will. And there's not a strong, what I call a strong stream toward a certain outcome. So sometimes there is strong streams, and what I call destiny is not really destiny. It's a strong stream toward a certain outcome, which you could veer off of if you want it, but the stream is so strong in a certain direction, it almost wants to go in that direction. And it would take a lot of effort to veer off that train track, you know? Do trains get derailed? Sure. But trains like to stay on their train tracks, right? And sometimes we see situations that have like that real strong energy in one direction or the other. But there are plenty of situations where you might, you might be in that place of like, yeah, I could go either way, and it's going to show up in your session,
Yeah, and from the Akashic perspective, so we have lessons that we're working on in this lifetime. But from your guides, like your masters, teachers, and loved ones, that's who we connect to in the Akashic records. They're okay for you to work on that lesson for lifetimes. You've probably already been working on them for lifetimes. And I like to say, as humans, like, I want to get done with my lessons like right now, right? I don't want to be working on boundaries forever. But
Yeah.
But now when it comes up, I go, aha, okay. And it doesn't upset me as much. And I don't get frustrated. And I have tools, and so it's not as big of a deal. It's not like, why is this happening to me? And so when you have this awareness, it changes your thoughts and your feelings about it, right? And so it's just like the speed bump down my street. I know it's going to be there, right? I slow down. I'm expecting it. And so, and I know it's there, right? It's just to slow people down so they, in school. So it's just a different kind of attitude around it, right?
So beautiful. I love that. Caroline has a question. Can you provide insight on how best to utilize the Akashic records in regards to healing heartbreak or I guess I would say, or severing soul ties? Is even severing soul ties a thing that you do in the Akashic records? I guess that's another sub question I would ask. Yeah, and healing heartbreak. I almost feel like those are two topics.
Healing heartbreak, I mean, there's no like one thing to do. You go into someone's records and you ask, what are the causes and conditions? What is the soul level truth? There's questions, many questions you'd ask around it. So it's different for each person. It's not specific. And as far as severing ties, it's not like in shamanism, there's different things, right? There's like cutting cords and there's different things, but it's not prescriptive. We're not fixing, if that makes sense. Like we're getting answers and we're getting spiritual guidance for people. And often what people may think they need, they realize they don't. Or does that make sense? They get this totally different perspective and they go, whoa, I never realized that. And so that's the beauty, like these big ahas that happen for people when they start, like, there's all this beautiful imagery and metaphors and all these things that comes through in the guidance. And so it's difficult to explain, but it's different than a lot of other readings that I've experienced.
Yeah, and I imagine that the concept of heartbreak is probably very different than the human experience, earthly experience. I don't know what you would call it, but down here experience of heartbreak. Because if we look at what heartbreak really is, it's to me, it's an issue of I don't love myself enough. We really drill down.
It's the same for everybody, so I would have to go into that person's records, right?
Yeah.
I'm human, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's different, and it's unexpected. And also, what I want to say is that the colors and the metaphors and the things that I get, they're not symbolic. So if I see the color red, I don't go to my knowledge of what red represents. It's different for everybody. So the symbolism that you get, it's very, it can be anything. And that's what's really cool. And so it's different than other things, right?
Yeah, you're coming in with a very openness about it, opening to the message, whatever the message is. Yeah, I think that, heartbreak is a great example, though, of one of those situations that there's lots of different ways that, when people think of, just Caroline, I'm second guessing from context clues in your question of like a relationship that, let's say a relationship that broke up, and I feel heartbroken about it, but there's a gift in that. There's a gift in even heartbreak. There's a gift in it. And it's like, what is the gift in it? What is the thing that I'm going to discover about myself? Or what is it, the thing that I'm going to, how I'm going to grow? Or what is it that I'm going to expand into through having this experience, rather than just feeling the feelings? You know what I mean? Like that's, I think, probably the thing that you're talking about. It's like, you don't want to have that. You don't want to come back and learn that lesson over and 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 over again. You want to, okay, I understand this now and I'm ready for the next grade.
I mean, everything, I mean, when you get a record, you may learn what the lessons are, what the soul level truth is, but there are lessons that we simply get to repeat. You know, we want to keep going up, but sometimes we do this or we go down a little bit, right? It's cyclical. And there is this grace into accepting that. And the guidance we receive really helps us with that.
I think it's when we have that experience of the cyclical thing, just how I see it is like, it's this, well, in tarot, it's the fool's journey. You go all the way around the major arcana and then you come back to being the fool again, but you don't actually come back to being the fool again because you've made a complete circle and you have all that knowledge. You're at the beginning, but also at a different level. So there's a way of like incorporating, and when you start to do this work, this spiritual work, you may feel like you're not progressing, but you are progressing.
Yeah, well, it's like when limits and boundaries comes up. It's super quick for me now. I go,
Yeah.
okay. And it doesn't spiral me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
That's so, and see, there is a progress that even if you're repeating it, you're having the same experience, but you're mastering
I mean, I
it.
have lessons that I will be working on. Yeah. And I'm okay with my life lessons. I'm okay with continuing to work on them in this lifetime.
It's beautiful. That's how you progress, through lessons, right? All right. Anna has a question about what you were talking about. Do you use a specific prayer to get into the Akashic records like Linda Howe's one, or would it be possible to craft a personal prayer or ritual to access it? Does it affect the information you receive?
So there's lots of prayers out there, and there's people that are also receiving their own prayers. And I have played around with different prayers, you know, from different books, from different things. Personally, when I do like a reading with a client, I've found the most success with Linda Howe's Pathway Process Prayer. I think it really gets to the heart of the Akashic Records. That's what it's intended to. So that's what I'm most familiar with, but you don't need the prayer to go in the Akashic Records. I can lead someone through meditation into their Akashic Records. And so, and it's always like, those of us that are familiar with it will get pings during the day, right? And you'll get pings from your master teachers and loved ones. So, but there's also something about being intentional, like setting the time aside, and this is when I'm going to either ask questions for myself or ask questions for a client. So that, you know, it has an opening and a middle and a closing. So it's a rollout, a kind of ritual around it.
It's kind of I think when you have a situation where you have something that works for you, it's a great foundation so that you don't have to worry about crafting a prayer too. You know what I mean? Like, because some people can get very, I don't know, am I doing this right? Am I, you know, what am I doing? And having that thing that works and try, I mean, the thing is that you did was you tried out different ones. You're like, this is the one that works the best for me. And someone else may be like, oh yeah, I did that one, but I changed it around a little bit, or I did that and that works best for me. And you can't say that, you know, it's like, oh, great, you know?
Right, yeah.
So, but that way of having something that someone's already come up with is a great starting. I think it's a great starting place, and it may be the finishing place. I mean, you may be so happy and satisfied with that. You're like, good. I'm good there. And that is easy for me. It rolls off. I don't have to think about it. I can just get in that place. Another thing you said that's so intriguing, which is so beautiful, is the idea that if you start doing this work, whether through meditation or having sessions with you, for example, or, you know, researching, reading, I think what it does is kind of cleans the window for the rest of your day, right? So you're, as you said, like you're getting pings and you're getting information because you've been doing this work and it's at the forefront of your life, or you've given it priority in your life. And so you're going to start to see those synchronicities or see those messages or get those insights or get those intuitions because you've kind of cleaned it up. I don't know if that's a really great metaphor.
Also, intentionally, I ask for them during my ordinary waking daytime. So I do ask for them during the day, but not at night, because I want to sleep at night, right? So I am intentional about, yes, I would like extra information to come through during the day.
This is so great. That's a great thing to do. That's so good. And you're kind of, I think the more, it is a little bit like a library, and I'm a former librarian, by the way. I used to be a librarian.
Oh,
But as like I love a library, but like if you go to a library that you've never been to before, you're like, where's the nonfiction section? Where's the fiction? Where's the reference desk? And that was a great metaphor when you were talking about like going to the guardians and guides of the Akashic records. They're like the reference librarians, right? They're gonna say, they're gonna be gatekeeping, but bring you the best information faster, the thing that you need right now, but not bring you the whole shelf of books, right?
I mean, let's say you go to a reference librarian and say, I want to start learning about poetry. They're going to ask you about your interests, and they're going to start you with some starter poetry, right? They're going to give you something that they think you're going to like, so that you get more interested in poetry. So there's kind of an example.
It's a great example. Yeah. And so I feel like the more you go into your records, the more you're familiar it becomes to you, the more comfortable it is going to be, the more you're going to be able to say, like you do in your practice, say, I want to get pings during the day that are going to guide me. And so I think it's that practice of being in there that makes you more comfortable. And then it's like, I know where to go, it's like anything.
It's like a relationship. It's a collaboration. So you're not just receiving, it is a collaboration. A reading is a collaboration between the practitioner and the client and the master stage loved ones. And it's a conversation. They're not just receiving. So yeah, it is a relationship. And the more that you work on it and you build it, it just gets more and more beautiful.
Yeah, it's so lovely. I love that. All right, so let's keep looking. Now I've got all the hearts I gotta go through. You got lots of people wanting that little mini reading at the end. Let me get through. Okay. Let's see. Kay has a very practical question. What are the names, or if you can share the names of the books that you recommend, that you read, and the books that you recommend?
I was gonna, Linda Howe's book. You want me to get that real quick?
You can, I can just type it in. Do you know the name of the book, or you don't?
How to Read the Akashic Records.
And it's HOWE, right? How
to
read.
Yeah. I would recommend that because, so of course I've read other books on the Akashic, but I think that she really does a beautiful, thorough job explaining it. And it's very, very friendly. So when I was learning the Akashic Records, I didn't have any light worker experience. And so it was very like at my level,
That's such a beautiful, I think that, it's like when you have a passion for something, like let's say you're going to learn how to knit, or you're going to learn about poetry or whatever, you start doing it and you do something simple. And if you really are connected to that craft or that interest or that whatever, you're going to want to go deeper and deeper. And those quote unquote introductory level books can offer a very deep wisdom. They just get you in, and then I can almost guarantee that anybody that reads a book like that and then reads it after 5 years of experience the Akashic Records, you're going to see it in a whole different way, and you're still going to learn from a book like that.
I've read it like 4 times. The first book is the beginning and the advanced class. So if you take the beginning class, you only have to read the first half, and when you take the advanced class, then it's the second half. So it's kind of like 2 books. Then she has Healing in the Akashic Records, and then she has Discover Your Soul's Path in the Akashic Records. She just finished another book. It's not published yet. She also has them in audiobooks. It's been my experience that the audiobooks are a little bit different. They're not word for word what the written books are. So it's a little bit different. So because I'm kind of nerdy, I like re-listen to the books and reread the books.
But you probably get something new out of it every single time too. Yeah. That's the great thing about a great book, is that you can come back to it and get another experience or another grain of knowledge, or through your experience in doing this practice, you're going to see it in a different way than before you started this practice,
Yeah, very, very user-friendly. I really like her books.
So now Christina has a question. She said, I read Linda's Howe's book and I tried the exercises, but I don't feel like I accessed anything. This is a great, like if I'm beginning to get into the Akashic records, what other exercises do you recommend for us to be able to access our records? Or
So that's kind of a big question, other exercises, right? I really recommend the Pillar of Light. It's a meditation that's kind of in the beginning of the book. If you go to my Instagram, I think it's on my website too. I don't know. I have like a recording of it. It's like a 5-minute meditation. And that was my practice, to practice the Pillar of Light, to kind of ease myself into the Akashic records before I would open up my own records. It was like a it's 5 minutes. I'm going to be recording a longer one here soon. But also, you may be in the records. You probably are, but you just don't know because you have expectations. So when I read her book, I thought that my master's teachers and loved ones, they would speak to me kind of like a voice of God in complete sentences. And, okay, Tatiana, just go for a jog, For examples in the book, it sounds like that. And I was like feeling a little ting in my rib or this little that. I was getting little energetic pings because I'm very clairsentient. And I didn't know that I was getting answers because I just didn't know, wasn't fully open to receiving them with all my senses. Then I took class and I was in the energy of the class with my classmates and my teacher. And someone asked a question, I go, oh, I got a little thing in my rib. I didn't know that you needed to ask, what does that mean for so-and-so, right? So I had a lot of self-doubt in the beginning. Going back to my notebooks, I was getting great information right off the bat. But I didn't know that at the time. So more than likely, when you read the Pathway Process Prayer, you are getting into the records. You just don't know it yet, and you're not fully aware of what it's like. So often when people say the prayer, like if you see black, it's good to say out loud, okay, I see black. Okay, it feels cold, it feels this. Talk about what you are seeing or not seeing or whatever you're sensing. And energy work flows on words.
That one thing too, that's so, I think that totally supports what you're saying, is the fact that not everyone is a visual person. Not everyone is clairvoyant. Not everyone is going to see. Because I always had like this, like I'm a clairsentient first. That's the very first clair that I got, or I experienced as a kid. I would feel, tingles, and I would have, goosebumps or chills, or, I would be these things. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to see a movie. Why am I not seeing a movie? And there's actually people that can't do a visualization because their brain doesn't work that way. It doesn't mean you're faulty or defective. It's just not the way your brain works. So if what you're expecting, like you said, that expectation, oh, I have an expectation, I'm going to watch a movie, that going into my Akashic records is going to be like watch a movie. Oh, I didn't see a movie, but I got chills all over when I talked about this topic, but that isn't a movie. So I didn't get anything. It's like learning your clairs, of which clair you're strongest in. Are you clairaudient, where you're hearing in your mind's ear? Are you claircognizant, where you're knowing, an inner knowing, you just know it's right or wrong or yes or no? Or are you clairvoyant, where you're seeing a picture? Or, what is your strongest modality? You can build those other modalities. You can learn that, but start with the one you kind of naturally have. And then that will lead you into those other ones and the other expectations. Clairvoyance was my last one that I learned, because that wasn't my modality. I can visualize things, but I was like, I can't see a thing when I'm working with a client. I can't see a thing. Well, then I started working with Miss Melinda, my friend Miss Melinda, who's amazing. She helps with psychic development. She did one session with me, and then all of a sudden I was clairvoyant and I could see images, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
I mean, so, I think the story is that Linda Howe herself has only had 2 visuals in her whole Akashic career, which is like, 25 years or something. You're just like, wow, right? So I think it's being really open to receiving the messages, however you're going to be receiving them at the time, being really open. And like personally for me, it really helps to write everything down. So instead of kind of just holding in my head, or you can say it aloud. So there's no one way. It's really whatever works for you. And so I offer tips and tricks, right? Things that help. And then you can practice on them and see if writing them down is better for you or saying it aloud is better for you. But they do need to move. The words do need to go on the energy.
So, that is a great tip about describing what you're seeing, even if you're seeing nothing. Because when you start describing things, I think that kind of loosens things up a little bit. And the other thing I was going to say about that is when I'm teaching tarot class, when I was teaching tarot classes, I would tell people, or if they're working with, any kind of intuitive development, I would, remind them to say, if their rational brain is getting in there and shouting so loud that they can't hear their intuitive, voice, then what they need to do is tell the rational brain, I'm going to pretend that this is what, that this is meaningful. Like I'm seeing a hawk. I'm seeing an image of a hawk. Why are you seeing an image of a hawk? That doesn't mean anything. You're just making that up. Okay, rational brain that's saying that. Let's pretend that the hawk is meaningful. And that quiets the rational brain down, because it can't argue with that. We're going to pretend. Oh, okay, you're going to pretend. And then it allows that intuitive visualization or auditory thing or, sensation to come through a little bit better. So I think sometimes we have to feed the...
You need your imagination for reading.
Yeah.
You need it. And so some people think, wait a second, that's me, right? I remember one of the early times I opened up my records, I saw, it looked like outer space, like solar, right? And I thought, oh, that's my imagination, right? But it wasn't. And so you can also, as you get more experienced, you can ask, like, is this because I watched Game of Thrones last night? Is this because I read that book last night, right? Or is this actually guidance for me? Or is this actually guidance for my client?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. I think, as you start to really develop and spend time with those voices, you'll know, for me, in my experience, I really hear the difference between my voice and my guide's voice, because sometimes my guides will say things like you had mentioned, I would never say that thing. I would never say that thing. And it comes through. I'm like, okay. And I feel very awkward sometimes, even I go, okay, your spirit guides are saying such and such. I go, I feel very awkward telling you this, but I've got to tell you because your guides are coming through with it. So as you start to practice it, you do really see that. And that's like the thing you were talking about when you were saying, like, there's messages there that I would never say.
Yeah, there's language I don't use, right? There's words I don't use. I have to look up the word sometimes. Like, I don't know what that means. It's not a word that I use in my daily language. I'm aware that it's a word, but I don't know what it means. So,
yeah.
And the way it's worded, right? And the tone sometimes. And so, like, that's just not coming from me, but, and it's experience. So, so it's really important that people that are new to the practice be really gentle and loving with themselves, and just like go in, sit with it, feel the energy, and then you can go out. Like, just do it for 5 or 10 minutes, right? You don't have to ask a bunch of questions. Just be really slow and gentle with yourself. And there's also, of course, the support of a class, right? Support of classmates. So that's also really helpful.
Oh, that is such a helpful thing. I mean, a class or a workshop or something like that is so helpful, because it gives you a chance to try it in a low stakes environment, because you're just another student there. There's nothing at stake. They're not paying you for a reading and you're like, oh my God, I've never done a reading before. So this is another student who's going through the same things you're going through, and you having that. Don't you have a workshop coming up?
I have a free introductory meditation. So I am not a certified teacher, so I cannot teach how to use the pathway process prayer. My teacher, Helen von der Heide, she teaches. I've been head TA for her for lots of classes. I'm also the community manager for all her students. But I can introduce people to the Akashic Records.
That's so beautiful.
So we don't actually, as a class, they don't say the pathway process prayer, but I lead them, and they do access it, and it's really beautiful, and it's just magical, right? It's cool.
So great. When is there a special time that is happening?
It's Sunday, July the 12th. And it's from 10 to 11:15 Pacific Standard Time. And this one is just like a love donation. So you can Venmo me, whatever, or not. It's just nice to have an energy exchange. But if, you can't afford, that is super cool too. I love to introduce people into the Akashic Records. I love for them to feel energetically what that feels like.
That's so lovely. And how can they find out about that meditation? How can they find out? Do they sign up on your website or something?
Yeah, the link is on actually my Instagram. So if you go to Yes to Soul and you go to my little link tree, there's my link. I don't have it on my website right now.
Okay, so they just go to instagram.com/yes to soul and
Yeah.
they'll get there. I'm gonna put that in the chat so you guys can find it. Are we ready to answer one more question? And then while you're answering this question, I want you to pick a number between, I'm going to count how many, and then I'll ask you to pick the number between whatever. Okay, so, all right, so these two questions kind of actually go together. So Margot and Diana. Margot says, is there a way that you can get to see it like a movie? And Diana says, you just explained that so well and helped me understand my clairsentience. I was feeling lacking for not seeing things. Thank you. And yeah. So like developing the different clairs, like what do you know? And then I'm going to count while you're doing that. So pardon my not looking at you.
Personally, I worked on my clairs. So this is what personally I did. I was working with a psychic medium. I was being mentored, and I had a little journal, and each page was broken up into four, like the four clairs, right? And I was just recording, kind of like if you keep a gratitude journal or a miracle journal, more things come up. Because I thought my strongest was clairsentient, and that cognizant was my weakest. It actually ended up, when I was actually tracking, it actually ended up being the opposite. But it brought awareness. And so sometimes it's just bringing awareness, and then your eyes are open to it. And so we can't make ourselves more clairsentient, right? It is or is, but as you practice it and as you feel it more, it will strengthen in you, if that makes sense. But some of us, we won't be seeing visuals. It's just maybe not for you this lifetime, or not for you today. Or when I'm in the Akashic Records, for some people, I get tons of visuals, and for some people, less. And so I'm not disappointed with that. I don't have expectations about it, right? I'm just really happy about it. I did have one woman, she was a music major. She just graduated, and I did ask, I was like, can we give her a music metaphor? Because I thought that was really beautiful for her, and they did, right? So there's little things like that you can do, but it's a lot about just receiving them as they come, because it's, for other people, it's for them. You're just the channel. For you, of course, it's different, and I would love to get all my messages as beautiful images, right? But I get what I get, right? And I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that, there's ways that you may work on it and develop it. I mean, I did, I thought I'm never going to be clairvoyant. And then I had that guided session with Miss Melinda, and it opened it up. But I've been working on clairaudience and clairsentience for a really long time before that. So it may be because I'd been working so much on the other, it just needed a little key to unlock it. But don't judge it if you aren't, if that's not you and how your connection to spirit works. Look at what you do get and appreciate that, right? Appreciate what you do get. And then I think that appreciation gives a good, let's say, a good soil for your garden to grow. And if your garden is going to grow in that other place, then it's going to grow. But if you're frustrated and mad, that's probably not a great space for bringing in something,
There's no talent or special skill that's required to read the Akashic Records. So I'm not more special than anybody else. I just have a lot of interest, and I practiced, right? And I take care of myself. I drink water, and so I'm optimal in my body, right? I'm trying to be optimal when I give a reading. But there's not someone that's more special, and so that's what's really important to know. It's that this is for everybody, all the time, every day, as long as you're interested, right? And if you're not right now, I mean, that's fine too.
And I think a good trait to cultivate is openness, open-mindedness, and openness. And if you want to, well, what can I do to have better access to intuition and all of that, it's the openness,
And also to be curious, right?
Curious, yeah.
And I mean, just because someone gives you a reading, you can be like, wait a second, this doesn't resonate, right? You can be that way with it. That's cool too. You don't just have to be like, oh, I guess I got to do this, right? It's not meant to be that way at all.
Yeah, yeah. Or see what it has to show you. Sometimes the resistance is really interesting. I mean, I just did an amazing shamanic practitioner weekend this weekend. We got over here. So I've just been doing all this shamanic work. And one of my teachers, my first meeting with my teacher, I was like, oh, hell no. I don't want to work with you. And I was looking around, is there another teacher? And it was like, no, you're supposed to work with me. And I'm like, really? Because I really don't want to. And then but it was because of my own bias that I didn't want to.
Yeah, and it can take a while. Sometimes someone receives a reading and it takes a while for the reading to sink in, for the guidance. Like they can be almost feeling dissatisfied during the reading sometimes. And then they'll message me later. It's like, wow, everything all aligned.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's important not to be attached about it sinking in. I like to say it's kind of like tiramisu. It kind of takes a while to sink in sometimes, right?
Yeah, I think that sometimes we get a message in the Akashic or whenever we're having a message, and we might be really resistant to that message, whatever it is. But if you can be open to it. So when I was like in my situation where I had this teacher where I was like, I don't want you as a teacher. And the teacher said, just don't judge me by what you think you know about me, because I'm very different than what you think you know. And I said, okay. And I had an amazing experience with that teacher. So it's like the openness to let your resistance down and be open, I think is so, so helpful. So helpful. All right, I'm going to have you pick a number between 1 and 60. We had 60 people say they wanted a mini reading. So you got to pick a number.
I'll pick my age, 52.
Okay, so I'm going to go backwards because otherwise we'll be here all day. All right, let me go backwards. 1. So I'll go backwards 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can I answer a question right here? Will you do that or no?
Well, we're almost there. Hold on. 5, 6, 7, 8. And Jim Barker is your subject, is a friend of mine and an amazing palmist. He's been on the show before. Jim, I'm gonna allow you to talk. Is he still here? Oh, he's not here. He left the room. Oh, he's gonna be so disappointed when he finds out. He asked for a reading, he's not here. Okay, you're gonna have to pick a different number.
62.
What? 52?
62.
There's only 1 through 60.
Oh, my bad. 12.
Okay. All right. Going a whole different direction. 1. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Gia, is Gia here? See, this happens if you, Gia's here. Hi, Gia. Did I say your name right?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see your beautiful face. We see a picture of you. Hi, Gia.
Oh, well, I'm driving. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
My son, I hope I get picked.
Yeah, well, you're a good wisher. You're a good wisher. And am I pronouncing your name right, Gia?
Yes, you are.
Great. Okay. Well, we love your photo. You don't have to turn on your camera. We just need to hear you talk. So Tatiana's going to ask you a question, and then she's going to go into your Akashic records and give you a little mini reading.
Gia, could you tell me your name, so first, middle, and last, whatever's on your driver's license or any kind of government document?
Yes, Gia Malika Johnson.
Okay, and your preferred pronouns?
She or girl or female.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm going to say the pathway process prayer. Now, there's portions that I say to myself, like quietly, so I'm not gone. And then you think
Okay.
we'll probably have time for one question. I'll open up the records. I'll say the records are now open. I'll settle in for a second, and then I'll say, sometimes I'll give you an impression of the first thing I feel, and then you'll ask your question. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Take a quick drink of water. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, Help me to know Gia in the light of the Akashic records, to see Gia through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and lovers teaches here for her. The records are now open. 1 second. Okay. All right, what's your question?
What do I need most in my life right now for peace, joy, and success? Or
First
should
thing,
I be more specific?
you know, in the Akashic records, you can ask a broad question and then ask questions to dial it in to get more specific, or go specific and then dial out and be more broad. The first thing I thought is to feel the love that already exists, the love that's already there for you. Does that resonate for you?
Yes, it does, actually.
Do you have a question on that?
Is that I'm thinking love as in building my business and working with my family and supporting my family. I'm hoping that that's not, or it could be, a romantic love.
No, it's we're not talking about romantic love. It's like love energy.
Oh, good, 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 good. Okay.
Do you have another question on that, or do you have another question? Can you hear me?
No questions.
Do you want me to see if they have any messages to give to you today?
I can hear you.
Do you have another question, or do you want me to ask if they have any other messages to give you today?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, more messages, please, if there's any.
So here's what it feels like. It feels like feel all the love. Love is in the air. It's like, it feels like like cellular love. Like the plants are selling you love and oxygen, right? It just feels like love is permeating your body. It just feels very very beautiful. It's like open up your awareness to all the love that exists in the universe for you. Does that resonate for you?
Oh, that's very good. Yes.
It feels like
Yes.
like soaking it in, like feeling it and soaking it in.
Feels
Not
very expansive instead of the lack that I start to feel.
It sounds like we're getting a little laggy, so I'm going to mute you, but thank you so much. And Tatiana will continue with anything else she has for you. But
Thank you.
thank you so much, Gia, and we'll see you another week too, but she'll finish up her message with that, okay?
So what it feels like to me, it feels like sitting it
Thank you. Please mute.
Kind of like if
Thank
you sit
you.
outside in the rain, you know,
Yes.
just in the rain, like feel it soak in, feel
Thank
it. Should I close because I can't hear her?
Oh, I had to mute her because she's lagging, but she's saying thank you and thank you is what I was hearing.
Okay.
So yeah, anything else that you have to share with her?
just, and I will acknowledge that it sounds cliche, but sometimes it is. Just that there's so much beauty that surrounds her, so much love that surrounds her in unexpected places, right? And it feels, for me, I always feel energetically what the other person's feeling. So I'm just feeling all this love for her, and it's really like penetrating her. So if we could talk to her, I would ask if she feels that, if she feels, often people feel uplifted, like they feel buzzy during a reading.
And it's also like, I think that in this, I mean, what she was expressing is it sounded like she was like, oh, yes, that makes sense. And everything, it was just super laggy, unfortunately. But it sounds like she's connecting with what we're saying. And it's so exciting to know that really that success is around her, and it's coming through these people that love her, around her. So, and it sounds like she's tapped into it. I think Gia's tapped into love.
Yeah. So, if we had more time, we could ask more questions, like what are the first steps she could take. You could ask all kinds of other questions for her. But
Great.
I'll close her records.
Great.
Please fill it, Gia, with the highest and best Akashic record information and the highest and best physical level energy and information that she can now hold. Thank you for your healing today. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. And right now, it just feels like this really like tight, warm hug from her masters, teachers, and loved ones. Kind of like you get from a grandmother you haven't seen in a while. It's just like really tight, really warm. And you just can feel the love. So it's really beautiful for her. Thank you for allowing me to open up your records.
Thanks so much, Gia. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Tatiana, for coming and sharing your beautiful, amazing skills and amazing message with us. It was so lovely to have you. It was so great to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation.
So just as a reminder, I want to remind people that you're going to be offering them a special 15% off a 30 or 60-minute Akashic Records reading. If they use Spell Squad, yes, all one word, all capitals.
Yes, Spell Squads. And
yes, Spell Squad.
We don't have all my dates yet in July, but basically the coupon is available until the end of July. So if you went up and you try to book on July 31st, you could book in August, right? So it expires on the 31st, but it doesn't mean that the reading has to be in July.
Great. So you can book a reading up in advance, but as long as you use it in July, it's good. You've got your meditation coming up. If they go to Instagram.com, yes2soul, yes, YESTOSOUL, they'll find you over there. They can follow you and they can find out about that meditation that's love donation that you're doing. And anything else you want to announce?
That's what I got right now.
Okay, great. All right. They should just find you at yes2soul.com, find you and follow you on Instagram, and then and get all your fabulous, that fabulous connection with you.
If you have any questions about the Akashic Records or how to find a teacher or anything, you can email me. It's Tatiana@yes2soul.com. You can, or message me on Instagram. If you have any questions, I'm always available to support people or answer questions. So, so I'm an open book, and I'm here to support and share the resource of the Akashic Record with people.
Great. Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you so much to you, Spell Squad, for being here. It was so lovely to join with you in this weekly thing. Next week, there will be no magic Q&A because it's my birthday. And on my birthday, I'm going to be with my boyfriend hanging out. I'm sorry, I love you guys, but he gets priority over you guys. And I'm going to be celebrating my birthday. I don't think you want someone drinking champagne at your Q&A. Maybe you do, I don't know. But we're going to be celebrating my birthday on the 5th. And then we'll be back on the 12th. And that is our next session. So not next week, but the following week, the 12th of July, we'll be back and at 5 o'clock Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Our guest is going to be Carrie Connor. She's the author of Wake, Bake, and Meditate, which is a book on using cannabis as a meditation tool and different kinds of meditations that you can use. So we're going to be talking about cannabis, magic, and meditation. So join us on the 12th. I'll see you guys then. Have a great 2 weeks, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much. This is the highlight of my week, being here with you guys and being here with our fabulous guests like Tatiana. And I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Have a great 2 weeks, and I'll see you on the 12th with Carrie Connor. Thanks again, Tatiana.
Bye.
Bye.